What's up, friggin' world? Welcome back to another Stay Fresh production. My name is Justin Copeland. On this channel, Stay Fresh Productions, we typically talk about everything dealing with fragrances. Any interest in that kind of content, you're in the right place. Join the Fresh Squad today by clicking that subscribe button. Improve, enhance, increase, evolve your freshness. Simple as clicking that button. You'll feel it and others will smell it. And as I like to say, your freshness is a vibe. It's a way of life. It's how you present yourself to the world, to every situation, putting your best foot forward. And we use fragrance as a foundation for that here on this channel. Now, this idea of freshness is not something that I always had in mind. I didn't start off with this, which is kind of the topic of this video, as you can see from the title. Honestly, I didn't even really realize it until tonight, that this month, maybe almost to the day, marks 5 years. 5 years that I've been making videos here on YouTube. So I thought it would be fitting to come up with 5 things that I've learned in my time here on YouTube. Now, those of you who are video creators, you already know what it takes to consistently create content on YouTube, whether it's weekly, whether it's daily, whether it's a few times a week, whatever it is work. You know, you build on top of yourself. You refine yourself the more you do it. It's a practice, you know, and we learn a lot of things along the way, and I just wanted to share some of those things with you. So in no real particular order here, I'm looking at my phone just to make sure I'm thorough. Number 1, every step counts. Every bit of effort is an investment. Now, what that means to me in my personal journey when it comes to making a video, especially with the editing process, I'm just going to use that as an example. I would come into these moments where I'm editing, I'm tired, it's like 2 in the morning, and maybe I get an idea for some kind of effect or some kind of comedic moment I can highlight in the video that will add interest and add engagement. But I'm tired and I'm like, no, it's not going to matter. And in those moments, it's always going to matter. Again, I'm just using this example as a small window to see this. Every bit counts. Every step counts. Every video you make, every little thing you throw in, that's a piece of your personality. That's a piece of your authenticity. It all counts. And the more videos you make, of course, on a broader scale, you're casting your net. You cast your net wide, no matter how specific the topic or broad the topic. Everything is an investment back into you and your platform and your growth. I'm talking to myself, but anyone who needs to hear this, I hope this helps you as well. Number 2, a little controversial. It's a game. Let's be real. This whole YouTube platform, being a creator, getting the interest of an audience abroad, across the world, which is an incredible experience to be a part of, it is kind of a game. There are moves that you can make depending on your niche, and there are definitely moves here in the fragrance community in terms of the types of content that draw lots of people in terms of how that content is presented, in terms of who's presenting that content. And there are moves that can be made that can result in quick and exponential growth. Making these moves authentically is the challenge. For some creators, it may not even be a thought. It's like, oh, I want viewers, I want to make this video because I saw these people make this video with a lot of success, so I'm gonna do it too. Maybe structure it like them, either visually with the thumbnail or how I present it on camera, whatever it may be. You do A, B, and C, you get X, Y, and Z. That's kind of become this thing, but authenticity, I think, is becoming more important with the years passing. One of the biggest reasons is because this community is growing in terms of content creators. It's exponentially growing. We have so many more content creators making fragrance content here on YouTube than we did when I got started, and even before I got started. You know, I'm not an OG, but at this point I've been here a little while. So I've had my weaving through this path of how do I make content that people want to see, that's going to draw in new people into my audience, but how do I do it so that I'm being authentically myself and that I'm not trying to be someone or something else? And I've really struggled with that, if I'm going to be honest, you know, not in the doing it, but just in the idea of it. And the fact that I know I can do A, B, and C and get X, Y, and Z, but A, B, and C doesn't feel like me.
There's a lot of rhyming there.
And I let those things go by and I watch other people do them, and I watched them grow. I watched them explode. And at that point I have a choice. It's like, okay, am I gonna stick to my laurels and say I said I'm not gonna do this kind of content? Or am I gonna find a way to do it so that it's me still? So I've been messing around with that over the years, and I think it's working. You know, nonetheless, we're in a river. There's a current. You can go against the current. You can flow with it. And I found myself kind of flowing down, but then stopping every now and then, holding onto some rocks and finding my footing and saying like, okay, how can I make this space that I'm in now my own while the rest of the river flows? I'm speaking very esoterically, I apologize for that, but I hope it makes sense. If you're a reviewer, you definitely know what I'm talking about. If you've been watching videos for any length of time, especially if we're talking about top 10s, if we're gonna be specific, top 10 lists, I'm just gonna be real. I'm tired of top 10 videos. I'm not saying I'll never do them again, but this year especially, I've been trying to make an effort to present different content, different tropes, different themes and structures for videos, for fragrance content, like I just did with my vlog, which was so much work and a lot of fun. Definitely not something I can do all the time, but unfortunately I already knew that that content was not going to get a ton of views, mainly because it is really long, and I understand that. But I'm just going to continue to try to be my most authentic self, doing content that feels good to me, but also that I know you guys want to see, and that's always a balancing act. But I want to evolve. I want to bring newness to video creation in the fragrance world. And I've been thinking about it a lot. I've been acting it out as best I can, and I think it's evolving little by little, but that's what I strive to do. I want to change the paradigm. It's got to be more than just top 10s that people actually want to see. Third thing I've learned, if you have haters, you're doing it right. Haters are fueled by jealousy, and haters will never admit that, ever. And as has been said before, jealousy is love and hate at the same time. So people who spend their precious energy thinking about you and what you do and outwardly saying how much they don't like it, even though they're not doing it on their end and they're not doing it better than you at that, they don't want to admit it, but they love you. So I'm learning that for myself. If you keep clicking on my videos and giving me ad revenue just to leave a comment saying how much you don't like what I'm doing, thank you. Number 4, performance and compliments are the trees, not the forest. Performance and compliments, two of the biggest elements of evaluating a fragrance in terms of what people are interested in. How well does it perform? Does it last a long time? Does it project like a beast? Compliments, will it get compliments from women or men or whatever you're into? Is it super appealing? By saying that they're the trees, they exist. Trees exist. You can't deny that. And there's nothing inherently wrong with that. Those things are present. However, we're talking topically here. That's the surface. Now, this can go without saying, but the quality of your humanity is worth an immeasurable amount more than what fragrance you have on. And that can be dissected a number of ways, but how you carry yourself, how you treat other people, how you dress, how you groom, all those things are immensely more important than what you smell like. But your fragrance, when chosen correctly, and I talk about this all the time, can be a beautiful catalyst to you in any situation. And I totally get it. A lot of us get into this hobby because it's like, oh, I want to impress people. I didn't know I can do it with just the smell. That's amazing. You know, you hear people talking about, oh, it's like a magic button. It's like an easy button. You spray it on and now you're sexy. You and I both know that's not true. That is not true. It can help, but you got to meet it halfway. All right. With that being said, fragrance is an art form. At the end of the day, it is an art form created by artists. Even though the artists are sometimes commissioned to make art that is supposed to appeal to as many people as possible, in which case now it's almost not even seen as art anymore, but it's still art because it is meticulously crafted by very skilled and well-trained and seasoned people. Something that I appreciate the most about art is that it allows us to be uniquely ourselves. And that is what I love about fragrances. And I want to continue to present it as art here on my channel. I want to do it practically. So things like I just did, where I'm showing you how I'm wearing my fragrances in the real world. Because that's important. That's what we do with fragrance. We don't just talk about it here on camera and then shut it off and then we don't wear it anymore. I'm going to show you what it's like all the way from start to finish. But I really just want to instill into the community to begin to look at fragrance as something that they can make a part of them. You make a fragrance what it is when you wear it. It doesn't make you. Not all about compliments. It's not all about how long it lasts. And the final thing I've learned, and this is a can of worms, so I'm not going to open it up all the way. The fragrance niche here on YouTube or in social media in general is behind the times, but it is catching up for better and worse. What I mean by that, if you look around YouTube, you look at all these large niches: fashion, cars, tech, beauty, men's grooming, gaming, whatever it may be, these massive, massive niches on YouTube, and you see some of the top people in those niches, it's more than likely that these people are doing it full time. This is all they do. There's a number of things that come with that in terms of what they're doing with their content to monetize it and to be able to just live, but a lot of them are living quite well doing that. It has become a very valid path as a career. Now the fragrance side of things is behind. Most of these niches started the same if we're talking about YouTube. You have people coming home after working their 9 to 5, turning on the camera and talking passionately about whatever it is they're passionate about. And they weren't making a dime from it. Obviously that started to evolve, but fragrance side of things kind of got passed up a bit. It's interesting because fragrance is, out of all the niches that I mentioned, fragrance is most inherently the art form of them all. And art is subjective, art is not quantifiable. So I totally understand why fragrance didn't move in that direction with quite the same level of velocity. But here we are, it is evolving. No matter what we want to say or think, it's evolving. There are creators like me who are approaching it more full time, who are pouring so much more energy and time into it, and who are trying to actually make a living doing it in various ways. And I think that's a good thing. There's a lot of people who would disagree with that because it goes against what it was before. But you cannot change the flow of the river. That's the way it's moving. There's a lot of things that are seen as taboo here in the fragrance community in terms of what content creators do with their videos to make returns on their time investments that are seen as completely normal in other niches. They're in fact expected. So I think it's a good thing that we are moving in this direction. But it's a double-edged sword because the other side of that now is that, kind of like these other niches, it's becoming a popularity contest, which kind of ties into my second point about it being a game. Because something is growing so big, in order to stand out, you have to kind of do the craziest stuff. Let's be real. In some ways. Now, I'm not saying it's not possible to spend your time and to really just pick away at it and for years and years and years, and then you grow. That's happened to quite a few people in the community, but it's now not all that necessary to do it that way. Honestly, we have kind of a look at me culture going on, and you see it when you scroll through your YouTube feed. You see bright colors and people with expressions on their faces, and it's like, look at me, click on me, I have your attention. Look, I'm not faulting it because I've had to do the same thing, because it's the only way to survive. It's the only way to keep growing and to keep up, especially if we're approaching this as, again, kind of a full-time thing. You have to change with the tide. You have to keep up. You have to make the moves that need to be made. But I'm a little bit worried to see where that's going to lead overall, just in terms of across the board for content creation here on YouTube as fragrance reviewers. I'm trying to keep my head on a swivel and be really cognizant of what that could look like, how it could evolve. But again, all I know is that I want to try to bring newness. I want to try to just kind of, again, shift things in a way that we don't have to do it the same way in order to get views, in order to be liked. There's got to be other ways. And you guys do play a role in that. You guys are always welcome to share ideas with us. Let us know in the comments what you want to see, what new ideas you may have. And those of you who do that, I really appreciate it. It goes such a long way, and it does spark some interest for me in terms of coming up with new ideas for content. So I don't know. I just wanted to throw all these things out there. I talked for much longer than I'd planned to, but I hope some of this sticks. I hope it makes sense. All being said, I'm really grateful to be where I'm at. I am beyond grateful. I never ever imagined I'd be doing this 5 years from now. We'd be close to 50,000 subscribers. I'd have a fragrance out, and I'd be able to do this almost full time. I'm very, very grateful for that. And you guys, again, are a big part of that. So thank you for rocking with me for the past 5 years. If you've been here since the beginning, if you've been subscribed for just an hour, welcome to the Fresh Squad. Glad to have you. If you've been here any span in between, really appreciate you. The plan is to keep rocking maybe for another 5 years. I don't know where we're going to end up. I'd like to just keep growing, keep evolving, Keep bringing newness, keep bringing authenticity, and keep bringing freshness. Again, it's a vibe. It's about being your best self. It's about being yourself and not trying to be anybody else. That's all I want to say. Thank you so much for tuning in. Peace. I'll see you in the next one.